What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zcash today, ZEC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 5th day of June. Here we are at about $309 with roughly 10 hours and 11 minutes left in the day. And we've seen a spectacular drop, an absolutely spectacular drop. You made your attempts. We were trying to move higher, and man, you just couldn't do it. You had this head and shoulders pattern here, and well, you're seeing the aftermath of that with a little bit extra, I think. Yes, I'm aware that there was the Claude AI found the bug for Zcash that could allow for unlimited minting of coins or something like that, and they've also fixed that as of the 1st of June. Um, you know, they found this before the 1st of June, and the price didn't dump. People are hearing about it now, and the price is at a low point. They didn't hear about it here, and then the price dumped, right? They're hearing about it here. I think stuff like this causes mass panic. It causes mass hysteria. And my assumption is that now is actually probably a really good time to buy Zcash rather than sell it. They fixed the bug, and there's probably other bugs, as there is with a bunch of cryptos. Maybe they're fatal flaws, maybe they're not fatal flaws, but there's probably other bugs too that exist for Zcash. My point is not to talk about the bugs, my point is to talk about opportunity. Guys, you're down 33% today. You dropped 27% yesterday. From a high to a low, relatively speaking, you've dropped 61% overall. You're down right now about 53% from what you were less than like 36 hours ago. This is a phenomenal time to buy. How many of you up here were like, damn it, I wish I just bought some here. I knew it was going to go up, damn it. I mean, likely from here, you're going to see some sort of recovery. Maybe Zcash does go lower overall. I'm not talking about buying for the long term. Maybe you can buy for the long term. I'm just talking about buying and then getting out on the volatility. I wouldn't be surprised if from here Zcash did make its way back above $500. You have $304 now. Wouldn't be surprised at all. Yes, Arthur Hayes sold his bag. Whatever. That might be why there's so much selling. Might be why there's so much volume. Let's look at the weekly time frame. Oh, let's look at this with some more history. Overall, that double top does look menacing. Overall, I wouldn't be surprised if, as time went on, you did come down and find a higher low. Okay. Again, I'm not talking about buying here to sell at $5,000. Those targets are off the table. 3,000, 1,000, whatever they were before this drop, they're off the table now. But opportunity strikes. And when opportunity strikes, it's on us to answer the call. Okay. Overall, I think Zcash will work its way down probably below $100. It probably will go below $100 again at some point. And I mean, you could go as low as $50. You know what I mean? Something down here. I don't think that you see lower lows, and I certainly don't think that we go to lower lows than this. But I do believe that you're in a more long term, more massive type of recovery phase here, and you likely will come all the way back down to the base area where you started this move up. That's likely going to happen. Oh, come on, I was so close. We take the high here before this high. You got really close to the 1272. Have you noticed? I've noticed, man, a lot of cryptos have done this recently where they got so close to their 1272, but they just couldn't hit it. Might be something to note. The golden ratio might be a point of interest, kind of in the middle of the zone, so it makes less sense to me, but in all fairness, it is the golden ratio, $111. $100 itself is psychological support. That could be an area that you find support at, low or low, whatever. Maybe it's support for a time, but then you work your way down. I could really see us finding support somewhere in this area here between 70, let's say 77 to $52, and maybe even just below there. You could go, I mean, hell, you could go all the way down to $34. I don't assume that you're going to see a lower low here. I would assume that it is some type of higher low. But in that context as well, from a low to a high here, your golden ratio is at $70 to $52. Again, that range coming up. I mean, this makes sense to go down here to this area. That makes a whole mess of sense. And the high here to the low here, golden ratio 0.5382 area. It's perfect. It's perfection. It's great. It makes sense to me. Weekly time frame, we look at the RSI, rejecting the overbought zone, no bueno, not good. coming down. Stochastics are very bearish, but the blue line is far separated from the orange line. Typically, when you get this type of separation, it at least calls for a pause, whatever that pause might be, and then you probably drop more. So $306 now in the midst of this pause. I wouldn't doubt at all that we get back above $400. I wouldn't doubt at all that we get back above maybe even $500, but something from here that is a little bit volatile recovery. What we're seeing right now, what's causing this move, is irrational emotional behavior. And in this irrational emotional times, you see irrational price action. So I do expect some volatility to come our way. Bitcoin's dropping. Bitcoin is nearly at the lowest price it's been since the 60K low here. Are we about to drop below 60K? Maybe. This might be a good time to go long. I don't think, personally, I don't think that Bitcoin's in dire jeopardy of dropping too much more from here. I think that it is going to recover. But this is about Zcash. Let's talk about Zcash. We look at the 1 hour time frame. You've been red for quite some time on the MACD. It might be time to recover. We look at the RSI. Yes, you do have a little bit of bullish divergence. You can come down lower still. Maybe this is the low here at 256. Maybe you go back down to that area. You find a higher low or a slightly lower low. But in this area overall, again, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw prices that were near 500, if not certainly above $400 over the coming days. Maybe even over the coming hours. The 4 hour time frame here, oversold, very oversold, come back up. Stochastics, oversold, come back up. MACD is starting to cross below the zero. Definitely taking on a bearish environment. But as far as structure goes, to me, it would make a lot of sense that you would bounce from here. Right at the oversold zone on the daily RSI. Mark my words, today we'll pull up a little bit. We'll close at a higher price, high enough where this RSI will probably close right at the oversold zone. You'll bounce like you did here. And maybe instead of building up, we bounce and we build down. You know what I mean? Stochastics are oversold. But again, the blue line is separated from the orange line. This typically calls for a pause. MACD is right at the zero. You might bounce here at the zero, get a false bounce, and then actually cross later. Zcash, I do believe, is going to go lower. I just don't believe it's going to be right now. I believe we have some time. And in that time, it might be a good time to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's throw a fib on this real quick before we end the video. Golden ratio is at 468 to 504 for what it's worth there. We look at this low to this high. You actually just wicked right through the golden ratio here. Golden ratio support. Maybe you go a little bit lower and you hit that 786, but if you go below this low, I highly doubt that you go a tremendous amount lower. I would expect that you are at, if not very near your low, and from here you should see some recovery. That would take you above 400, probably even above $500. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.